Hi, so I'm Jillian. I was here last week to give you a quick little test.
Yeah, I remember you.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I want to thank you for participating and letting me practice on you. Today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over those results with the test with you. This is just for me to get practice doing this with clients. With that being said, I am a student, so just because I tell you a certain score on something, it's not necessarily valid. So I just want you to keep that in mind as we go forward.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So last week I gave you something called the mini mental state examination. Just a really quick test of thinking and memory. The highest score you can get on it is a 30.
Mm-hmm.
And your total score is a 16.
Did I fail?
So there's not really like failing, it's just that this test gauges where your thinking and memory is at. And then we use that to identify what you're doing well in and what you're not doing so great in, so we can generate some strategies for you.
Okay.
So the 10 to 20 range is what we might consider a moderate impairment. And I know when we were, talking earlier, you said you'd been expressing some concerns with your memory and thinking.
Yeah, I don't remember like I used to.
Yeah. And I remember you saying, day to day it's really starting to affect you. So that's why I kind of wanted to give this test so I can just get a sense of what specifically is being affected.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm just going to go over some things I observed. So your orientation was pretty good. You knew the month and you were close on the day. You were 2 days off, but you didn't know the year or season. So we can have some strategies for that. Your short-term memory was really good. When I gave you those 3 words, you were able to recall them right back to me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
did something.
I know, right? So yeah, we have that going for us. Another strength you had was your language is really good. So you could repeat the phrase very clearly after me, and you understood what I wanted you to read when I gave you that card.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm. You wrote a sentence with a noun and a verb, so your written comprehension's good too.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and then some of the things I noticed you're struggling with is your problem solving skills. So I know when we were talking earlier and I was getting some information from you, you said that it's sometimes hard. You said you get stuck sometimes, especially when you're you said when you were getting dressed, sometimes you'll put on a piece of clothing that's maybe too small or it's not right for the weather, and then you get kind of stuck because you're not sure what you should do after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think this test kind of showed that too. And then your long-term memory showed some struggles too, because when I asked you to recall those 3 things, you had some trouble with that. And I know when you were talking to me, you said sometimes it's hard for you to recall what you need to do in the day.
That's true. The days just blend together, so I don't pay attention to the dates.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do the same thing every day.
Okay, sure. Alright, and then, I think something you were struggling with too is your visual skills, because when I had you copy that figure, it didn't look too much like it.
Well, that was a hard drawing.
Yeah, so that was just what I noticed. Like I said, this isn't an exclusive test. This doesn't tell me everything about what you can do. It just kind of lets me pinpoint maybe some of your areas that you're struggling with. So for your, I kind of made some statements to sum up some of the stuff you were struggling with, and you can kind of give me feedback on whether you feel like it's accurate or it's not accurate. So I said, so some of your difficulties with your working memory, so that's when you're trying to work with something right in front of you. So that would be maybe when you're doing a routine, you need to be able to think about what's in front of you to know how to use it.
Okay.
And then your memory retrieval, so being able to recall things and your long-term memories, giving you some trouble.
Yeah, I can't remember like I used to.
Okay. Yeah, and the good thing is that there's a lot of strategies out there that I'll recommend for you.
Okay.
All right. And then I said your problem solving is as well as preventing you from initiating and participating in your daily routines. So I think it's perhaps preventing you from starting your daily tasks and then also completing those tasks. I know when your daughter and you were talking with me earlier, you said sometimes, you know, when you're doing something like taking a shower, getting dressed, you sometimes forget some of the steps.
That's what she tells me.
Okay. You don't feel like that's true?
I wasn't here. I don't know what she has to say.
Okay. Well, I'll take that into consideration. And then another summary statement I had was, I know we were talking about a lot of your social activities. So, you know, you like to go out and do things that your center provides for you to go on trips and stuff. But some of the things that are preventing you from doing that is your ability to use your memory and problem solve and plan. I know we were talking about sometimes you forget when an event is, and then maybe your daughter will call you and remind you, and then you feel really rushed and feel like you can't go because you feel like you can't plan for it at that point.
Yeah, that's happened a few times.
Okay. Yeah, so that's something we'll address too. So I just want to give you some of my suggestions that I have, some strategies that you and your daughter can use. So I just want to outline that I think you've got some really good strengths that are really going to help you as we move forward. So some things I noticed is that like you have a really good ability to stay on a task, like keep attention on task for a good period of time.
That's good.
Yeah, and then I know you said like when you have conversations with people, sometimes you forget to call them, but you can maintain the conversation for a long time. So that's a good strength. You know, you were talking with me just now, and you show a good awareness to your some of your deficits. So because of this awareness, we can use that to build strategies. And you still have, you know, a good sense of your daily routines and what you like to do, and you know how to do your leisure card games and bingo. You can still remember how to do that, so that's a really good thing going for us. And then, you know, it sounds like you have a really good supportive home environment. And I didn't notice any problems with your, you know, your ability to grab and reach or your ability to see or hear. So, you know, that's a good strength too. All right. So some of the suggestions I have is making some like modifications to your apartment to kind of help with your memory. So one thing I thought about is we can set something up like an iPad or something that has alarms go off with reminders that lets you know when different things are coming up. And we can do that throughout the day. So, you know, like if you have an event at 2 o'clock, we can set an alarm, you know, at noon. That way you have 2 hours to get ready.
Do I have to touch those technology things are way too?
Yeah, no, you don't have to do it. Someone else can set it up. I know your daughter says she can work the iPad fine, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, you definitely don't have to worry about that, but it might be something to consider. We can also have like a when the alarm goes off, it can give you like a verbal reminder of, you know, you need to do this now or something.
Okay.
So I also think it might be a good idea to make sure your apartment is free of any clutter. That way there's just less distracting things. You know, if our environment is full of things and we have something here, like a note that's supposed to remind us to do something, we might not see it because there's just so much other stuff. So I think that might be a good strategy. How do you feel about those two things so far?
Well, if I don't have to touch that iPad, because I have no idea on technology. I don't want it. Now the clutter, my daughter, I know my daughter goes through my papers, so I don't know. If it helps, it helps.
Okay. Do you feel like that's something you want to do with her, or you want her to do?
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right. Another suggestion I have is maybe have like a written checklist or just a written list of steps, maybe with some pictures and stuff to that you can like refer to. So if you're, you know, maybe in a situation where you don't know what to do next, you know, just having that right next to you wherever you're doing that particular task, so that you could just look over and see it, and then you know that'll help you guide through something, and that'll help with some of the problem solving issues.
Well, I make checklists, but I put them down somewhere and I can't find them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and these can be helpful because maybe we'll make them bigger, and then we can, you know, like,
Okay.
particularly with getting dressed, you know, you might want to put it right on your closet in a big thing, that way, you know, you can't miss it, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, and sometimes you might want to make some modifications to the tasks. So I know something you said that was really frustrating for you is, you know, you have an event that you want to go to, and you know you didn't maybe plan your time really well, so you feel really rushed, and then you're putting on a piece of clothing, and then it's too small or it's not right, and then you get really upset and frustrated, and then you don't go. So we might want to maybe think about that a little bit differently. If we, you know, have alarms going off to tell you to do things earlier, you know, you might want to put out your clothes the night before, you know, and your daughter can call you and remind you, or we can set up that alarm system. That might help a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. And then, you know, another thing is just like a self-awareness checklist. So having a list of questions somewhere in your apartment, you know, that says, you know, did I do this today? Did I call who I wanted to call? Did I wash my hair? Did I do this? Just because sometimes that's a little nice external reminder to do something.
Okay.
Okay. And then the last thing I kind of suggest is something that I know you're already doing is just, you know, kind of working your brain like a muscle. So just doing things like card games and puzzles just to help you kind of keep working your brain. I know you're having some troubles, but you know, if we can keep doing what we can, then that's actually really good for the brain, and it'll help you, you know, keep what you have longer. So, okay. So the last thing I'm going to do is I just have some goals for you that I want to see if you feel like they're accurate or not. So I have that you will initiate or start and complete steps of your daily routine through the use of adaptive strategies. So those are the strategies we just talked about. And any equipment like the alarms by the end of therapy services by yourself. How do you feel about that goal?
Could you explain that? I mean, it's a lot of words.
Sure. So, so thinking long term, I thought maybe a goal is that you will be able to do your typical daily routine with the help of either the alarms or the checklist or something, so that you can do your routine by yourself.
Okay. Now I get it.
Okay.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that goal?
Sure.
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 Okay. We can always make modifications later if you don't feel like it's, realistic. So that's a good thing about it. And then some short-term goals I have for you is that you will be able to select the appropriate clothing items in your home with somebody there helping you by the end of 2 weeks.
Sure.
And then I know we really want to work on your planning skills so you can go on more social events, because I know you said that's really important to you, to be able to go out with friends and family. So that you will use kind of some of the strategies we were talking about earlier to be able to plan to go on an outing with somebody standing there and giving you guidance as you need it. By the
Most
end of-
likely that'll be my daughter.
Okay. And you feel like that's a good goal for you?
I hope so.
Okay.
My daughter can be stubborn.
Yeah. Well, when I talked with her, she seemed like she was, wanting to try anything that would help you. Because I know you really want to do more things on your own.
Yeah, but we both get stubborn.
Okay. Well, we'll give them a try and see how it goes. All right. So the last thing I have for you is just how do you feel like I did on giving you
Well,
the
you
test?
explained everything in the test you were fine with. I didn't feel very frustrated taking it, and you got a nice smile, and that helps. So,
All right.
and you explained everything with these goals, and we'll see.
Okay. And then did you feel like getting those results back, did they help you at all?
Just shows that my memory's just not what it's used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the good thing now is maybe you can, maybe some specifically what you're doing well and what you're struggling with. And we have some strategies, so we can try to go from there.
Sounds good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Thank you for participating.